Europe's top holiday golfing destinations, and there's lots else to do here as well. It's a land of strong Catholic faith and a culture forged from an empire which discovered the New World. Its capital city, Lisbon, is a cultural and historic gem. Golf was introduced to Portugal by the British. Maybe they brought the rain. But seriously, the British have had a long, peaceful and mutually beneficial relationship with the Portuguese. The two countries have never been to war and signed a peace treaty way back in 1387. Portugal now has 80 golf courses, but 2/3 were built quite recently in a 20-year period between 1990 and 2010.
Portugal has a stated ambition to make golf in Portugal the same way the Swiss have made skiing, and they're on good tracks.
Portugal is a land of beaches with a 1,000-mile-long coastline, so it's fitting that my first course faces the Atlantic Ocean. It's located about an hour's drive north of Lisbon, and it's called Westcliffs on account of its spectacular location and setting. It's one of the country's newest courses, having opened in 2017, and it was designed by the world's leading woman golf course architect, Cynthia Dye,
Yay!
who faced a special challenge.
There's a environmentally sensitive vegetation. It was a very interesting map, so routing this golf course through this property was like putting together a jigsaw, trying to link the golf holes and find enough playable area to be able to build a golf course.
The delicate ecology of this spectacular setting posed considerable problems for Cynthia. A lot of pine trees had been planted 50 years ago for pulpwood.
In discovering this golf course, all the pine trees were removed off of for the corridors of the golf course and exposed this beautiful vegetation that is so unique to this area. Well, my background's horticulture. I studied at Arizona State University back in the 70s when they were still, most landscapes in Phoenix were painted rock. And today, they discovered a whole, lush desert. And if you go to Scottsdale now, the landscapes are vibrant, with native plant material. So to me, to discover this type of vegetation, this is, I think this is one of the most special things.
Cynthia's determination to retain the natural habitat of the site has meant most of the holes have a long carry over native species off the tee. It makes for a challenging round, but a spectacular visual experience. I'm playing the 14th hole with Cynthia.
This particular hole and all the vegetation around here really describes what this golf course is about, because this is a native coastal habitat, which is all but disappeared in this part of the world due to deforestation that they use for pulpwood.
A special feature of the 14th, a short par 4 over the native species onto the fairway, is this natural hazard, which showcases some of the native but endangered plants here. My shot lands right of the fairway, just short of the natural hazard, while Cynthia's is just behind it. It can be challenging here at the best of times, but when the rain sets in, rare in these parts, it can get very sticky.
There you go.
But both our second shots are on the green. But let's have a closer look at this natural hazard.
It was kind of controversial whether to keep it or not. We thought it was a nice feature to this short par 4. All these plants, they bloom at different times of the year. You can see the little yellow flowers. There's the pink snapdragons are starting to come up now. You have yellow blooming plants, you got the purple sage, and it's constantly changing color. So anytime you come down here, it'll be a different color. It's just so vibrant. We have a sign to deter players from going in and destroying the habitat. It's declared a environmentally sensitive area, so they're really not supposed to go hit their ball, but obviously if your ball's sitting in the sand, they're going to go play it. You can see the footprints.
The green on the 14th isn't straightforward either.
So are you going to hit it over the elephant in the green?
The elephant in the green?
Yeah, the elephant, the buried elephant in the green.
It's a very large hill.
It's going to slow your ball down, so don't be short.
I'm short. Cynthia is the niece of the famous golf course designer Pete Dye, and her family have built over 200 golf courses. For her, it's always been a family business.
I worked with my family all my life. That's where I started with my dad. I grew up on the first Dye golf course, which was my grandfather's. So I kind of grew up the same way that Pete and my dad grew up, on a golf course. So I've always worked with family. I worked with my cousins, Pete's 2 sons. I've worked with my brothers, and now I have my children. I have sons that at one time I had 4 of my 5 children living in China.
Cynthia's latest project is a golf course in Iraq, but just as she sees a future for golf in the outskirts of the Middle East, she also sees a big future for women in the sport.
I think 41% are women. So you get them on the golf course, it's a huge potential. I think the biggest market they have in golf for new golfers is women.
To make the course more playable, West Cliffs has categorised its tee positions according to handicap, rather than the traditional and gender basis. Its system is based on the length of the course in metres, with only scratch golfers playing off the back tees. It urges low handicappers to play off 59 or 5,900 metres and mid-handicappers off 55 or 5,500 metres.
If you are scratch, you can play from 63. But if you are a low handicap, when I mean low, like a 5, you can play from 59. But if you're higher than that, you should be playing from 55.
So if you're a high handicapper playing off the 51s at the front or even the 47s, you are playing the hole at half the length of the scratch golfers who are playing off the 63s at the back. And then there's the wind.
But when the wind gets up here, it's really tough, no matter what tee you're playing off.
It's unusual. It's not usual to have this strong winds for so many days. Usually it's one day per season, but sometimes happens to be a little bit longer. It's not controllable because the wind can take your ball elsewhere.
It's difficult, but it's a great course. It's really well maintained. They do a super job here. All the greens are in really great shape, but the wind is difficult. But that's the challenge of it, you know.
Despite the difficulties posed by the bad weather, which is rare, this is a really special and unique golfing resort. Its modernist clubhouse and villas are an enticing offering for those golfers looking to make this spectacular golf course a second home.
Even if you didn't play golf, this is a beautiful place to come. And if you don't shoot your best round, you're still going to, have a good day out here.
I'm now heading south to the capital, Lisbon. I want to find out more about how the game of golf came to Portugal from Britain, and hopefully find some good weather too.
You can trace the roots of the special relationship to the small town of Sintra, just a few kilometres from Lisbon, originally occupied by the Moors, who built a spectacular mountaintop fortress here. It was here at the National Palace of Sintra, also formerly a Moorish castle, that Portuguese King João I married an English queen, Philippa of Lancaster, in 1387, and the Treaty of Windsor was born. It remains the oldest military alliance in history. "500 years on, the alliance was called on when these spectacular early 19th century fortress walls were built by famous British soldier, the Duke of Wellington. He constructed more than 100 miles of fortifications during the Napoleonic Wars to successfully stave off a French invasion of the country during the so-called Peninsular Wars. Wellington deployed thousands of troops over a period of nearly 2 years to build an ingenious set of fortifications north of Lisbon called the Lines of Torre Vedras. Fort San Vicente was one of the largest, providing a base for several thousand troops.
The lines were defended by nearly 80,000 troops, most of them British. Almost 30,000 French troops died of either disease or starvation trying to take these fortifications.
Wellington had 126 forts constructed on the tops of these hills, bristling with 600 cannon to stop any possible French breakthrough, which never came to pass. They literally were an impenetrable barrier which acted as a deterrent that basically brought to end the Napoleonic Wars and, some say, started European Union. Portugal was probably responsible for the start of the end of Napoleon.
More recent British influence came with their dominance of the port industry here in the north, around the city of Porto, which led to the first golf course in the country here about 100 years ago.
British families, famous names that we've seen in labels of port wine like Wars, Grahams, Coburns, Crofts, Taylors, Sandeman. These families were installed in these wine-growing farms on the banks of the Douro, and they were used to playing golf.
After the course in Porto, the Lisbon Sporting Club, just outside the capital, is the next oldest in the country. Its president, Miguel, was the third generation of his family to play the game here.
We are dated from 1873. It's all about the British community living in Portugal and working. We are talking about the railway company building the railroad from Cascais to Lisbon, and that's where we started as a club. Not as a golf club, but as a cricket, football and tennis club. We still have 1 or 2 British members that I remember. We still have, as you can see, the British flag. So we keep our history and we are very proud of that.
You can see the club takes pride in its British history and links. Although only a handful of its members are now British, its heritage is apparent in the trophies and mementos displayed in the dining room. In the best British golf club tradition, a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II is a prominent feature. Unusually for Portugal, the club is still, like traditional British clubs, owned by its members, and players like Mario love the British golfing traditions, such as the wearing of +4s.
More comfortable, and my wife have not washed the trousers, you know.
The course is, as you'd expect, a classic English parkland course. The pro here is Andras.
Nice. You don't hear cars, you don't see houses. It's in the middle of the woods. It's a beautiful place to be. I call it a little piece of heaven we've got down here.
Just down the road is Portugal's capital, Lisbon, and the British influence can be seen here too. They built Lisbon's delightful tram system. Nowadays, Lisbon revels in its role as a capital of a far-flung empire that for 3 centuries discovered, explored, and then traded with the New World, founding colonies in India, Brazil, and Africa. Its famous explorers, such as Henry the Navigator, who was the son of Philippa of Lancaster, are honoured here. The most famous, Vasco da Gama, is buried here. Portugal's food markets reflect its history. Salted cod was a staple for its seafarers, and it's still popular today. Its sweets are world famous. It was Catherine of Braganza, a Portuguese queen married to an English king, Charles II, who introduced tea and also marmalade to Britain, further cementing the special relationship. However, the intricate tile work on Lisbon's buildings have their roots in an earlier time, when the Muslim Moors from North Africa ruled the Iberian Peninsula. The old Moorish castle still stands majestically on one of the city's hilltops. Lisbon is famous for fado, mournful and moving ballads which capture the soulful mood of the country. A night out for fado is a must. Just outside Lisbon is one of the region's top golf courses. It's a grand course incorporating giant trees and historic features, such as an old 14th century monastery. Designed by Robert Trent Jones in 1992, the course also features an old Roman aqueduct, still here next to the 5th green. Penalonga is now part of the Ritz-Carlton Group, which has a resort here. If it's another sport you're looking for, Portuguese bullfighting involves a matador on a horse and also one in front of the bull, challenging the wounded bull at the end. But this is a land of deep Catholic faith. You can visit the pilgrimage site at Fatima, where the faithful come to pray to be cured. And there are many elaborate churches, even those made of human bones. I'm on the road again, and as you head south, the landscape changes. Eucalyptus trees brought back here by Portuguese explorers line the freeways. It feels like I'm back in my native Australia. I'm heading 3 hours south now to an altogether different part of the country, the sunny Algarve region, or at least let's hope so. It is mid-November. Monterey is rated the #1 course in Portugal. Its Jack Nicklaus design course offers an intimate and quiet golfing experience, while at the same time showcasing Nicklaus's elaborate water and bunker hazards. This is a serene golfing experience, despite those bunkers. They're beautifully designed. And on the 9th, well, it's bunkers, bunkers everywhere. Look at those bunkers. Monterey offers golfers looking for that second home the opportunity to rent villas or buy them. It also offers the option to build your own villa to your own spec, rather than offer pre-packed design. A new day dawns at Monterey, and the personalised golf buggies are locked and loaded. Most top-drawer golf establishments offer a concierge service nowadays, but Monterey takes it to a new level. From meet and greet...
Good morning, sir. Welcome to Monterey.
Thanks. ...to the driving range. This service operates with military precision. Today, well over 100 golfers are playing the course, but each group will still feel it has the course to itself. I'm playing with pro Brad Dye. The club feels he has a big future.
That's a good one, straight down the middle.
We're on the par 4 14th, which really showcases what is special about a Jack Nicklaus designed course. It's a downhill par 4, but even off the gold tees, it's nearly 200 yards to get onto the fairway. Ahead lie the bunkers, on the fairway, and then 100 yards further on, another hidden bunker, over the slope in front of the green. At the rear is a lake. Brad is positioned nicely on the fairway. I'm further back.
So how far out are we here?
Got around 200 yards left to the heart of the green. Quite a tricky shot left in. There's a bunker that we can't see behind this left fairway trap here. So the room for us is down the right.
Yeah, you can't even see that bunker.
You can't. I think that's possibly going to find the left bunker. It has, it's found that left bunker. Straight into the heart of the green. Perfect.
While Brad is on the green,
remember to accelerate and dig that ball out.
Okay.
I now have to get out of that bunker.
I'll take it.
Well out.
Brad holes out for birdie.
Fantastic birdie.
And it's a bogey for me.
Thanks, Bradley.
Pleasure, thank you.
Brutal bunkers.
Very, but I'm happy I made a birdie, so.
Well done you.
Thank you.
We've spoken about the British influence here, but here in the south, you really feel the Moorish influence too. The legacy of 500 years of occupation by Muslim dynasties from North Africa. Here at Silvis, there's a fantastic Moorish castle built in the 10th century with spectacular views over the region. At the entrance, there's an impressive sculpture of Portuguese king Sancho I, who liberated the fortress with his Crusader knights in 1012. You can feel the Moorish influence across the Algarve even today, in the elaborate tile work and even chimney tops on the buildings. They're a unique architectural feature here. They've been adapted on the houses lining the fairways at my next golf course, the famous Val de Labo near Faro. Situated up against magnificent red sand cliffs facing the Mediterranean, Val de Labo was one of the first courses of the modern era to be built in Portugal. And as a result, it cornered and captured the image of a typical golf resort here. It remained very popular among Britons in particular, ever since it was built in the 1960s by Henry Cotton. It was hard hit in the global financial downturn and cut prices. Nowadays, Val de Labo can be crowded, turning over 120 rounds a day. I'm playing with pro Steve Watkins, who's noticed a change in the clientele here in recent years.
Most of the courses, the busy times of the year, they're booked up, sometimes 1 or 2 years in advance to tee time, so it's very popular. Years ago, the history was golf was more of an established game in Britain and Ireland, and the last few years, obviously, it's grown into Europe. The Germans and the mid-Europeans are playing more, and now they've seen the attractions of playing golf in the nice weather in the winter, and they want to keep their game going throughout the whole year.
The signature hole on the Royal Course, one of 2 here, is the long par 3 16th, which courts those magnificent cliffs on the seafront. It's 250 yards over 2 giant seaside canyons to a green protected by bunkers at the front. Steve's shot with a 2-iron is on the green. He took a 2-iron, but I need a driver to get that far. A good strike, yes.
That's in the sand.
But I'm in that bunker at the front of the green.
So on this particular par 3, it's very long in length, so even the big hitters, it's very easy to finish short in the bunker. If you're a short hitter, you can go to the right of the hole, play the hole as a dog leg to stop the ball going in the bunker and falling down the ravine. Luckily, I'm on the green now. I'm going to try and finish the job.
Steve holes out for birdie.
Another day in the bunker. I'm left to get out of that bunker. Which I do. Possible par. Or not. But it's another bogey for me. My final course in Portugal is further west. A new eco-centric course near Lagos in the far southwest of the Algarve.
You know, in this part of the world, this is the most western point of Europe, it's still like a little unknown gem here. It's not been discovered by everybody yet.
Espiche is built on land bordering a national park. Its clubhouse was recently voted number 3 in the world for its innovative design and eco-sustainability. It's been a 20-year project for Peter Thornton, a former rock musician turned eco-property developer, who's transforming this patch of land in the Algarve.
We've actually increased the biodiversity here. You know, we had a sparse landscape with a very delicate ecosystem. So we've increased the trees by at least 4,000 to 5,000.
The adaptation and reintroduction of existing grasses here is critical to Peter's master eco-plan.
We're here on the Algarve. It's sometimes boiling hot. And if we were going to take a Scottish grass and we put it here, a pen eagle or something like this, we're only going to get problems, you know. So what we've done, we've put something here that is really right for the climate. Putting something that is happy to be in this environment can only be beneficial. And this is what we found now. Our greens are now absolutely fantastic. Around us, we've got a Bermuda 419, which is a little bit tougher than a 316. And here we have the Paspallion CR2000. This is fantastic. This is beautiful. Beautiful surface. It's really hard to maintain like this because you have to have a groomer, you've got to pick it up, you've got to slice it. A lot of top dressing, a little bit of coring. It's hard. You're dealing with a weed in the end, you know. You're dealing with something that you're trying to tame something wild and to make it playable and likable by your golfer.
Well, look, the obvious question is, why isn't everyone else putting this grass on their greens?
I think in time they will.
This is a deceptively tight course. The par 4 8th is short, but a tight fairway doglegs left to find the green. I'm playing with Alfredo, a veteran of the Portuguese tour and the pro here. He says you should only use a driver on 4 of the 18 holes here, and certainly not on this one. Alfredo's shot found the fairway right in the middle, with only a chip to get onto the green. I'm further back and am just short of the green with my second. After withdrawing from competitive golf, Alfredo turned to teaching and has some interesting insights on his students.
You have Swedish that they only listen and try to do everything like you say. And then you have the English that ask a lot more questions. Why is that? Why is this? And then you have the Portuguese that for me are the most difficult ones. The Portuguese, the normal player tends to be the boss of some big company. So normally he knows everything, so it's difficult to teach.
Back to the game. I'm on the green.
Nice shot.
With my third. Alfredo holes out for a birdie. And yes, I finally make par. The golfers we spoke to loved the Espiche course.
My wife and I play normally 3 or 4 times a week.
Right.
Yeah.
And where are you from?
We are from Sweden.
I can see some elephants here, or this like in Africa, I think.
You feel like you're in Africa?
Yeah.
Course is beautiful, lovely fairways and nice greens.
Restaurant.
You like the restaurant?
Yes.
A hotel and apartments are being built in the same style as the exquisite clubhouse. But in the meantime, golfers can stay in the nearby Cascades Resort in Lagos. Espiche is special and a very peaceful course. Peter Thornton sees it as an environmental mission.
We tried to build everything in the most sensible environmental way that we can do it, and to be a bit of a flagship for what can be the future of golf.
Espiche is a great place to end my week-long golf tour of Portugal. The golf courses here are top-notch, difficult for the mid-handicapper, but among some of the most scenic and secluded you'll find anywhere. And if you sometimes struggle with your game, when the good shots come,
thank you.
Why not savor that special moment?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Another great round.